Hey James, Dennis, see if I want to go. Don't know if you're working today or not, but I'm going to send this video off to you today, and we can catch up after the holidays. But I took a look at your estimate. I kind of redid it into our estimating system. It comes up with basically the same answer. I think we would go about it the same way, just a little different format. So I'm on a takeoff screen. This is where we do our estimating in the Sage 100 Contractor. And in here, you have the ability, just like in yours, to set up different bid items. So I just happened to do the one for Hydroseed. I say it's part of the base bid, and it's what have you. It could be a change order, but I just made it part of the base bid. But you put all your items in here, so it shows up with the right bid item. We also have phases, which it doesn't look like you use, but phases would be maybe if you wanted to separate the north side of the freeway from the south side of the freeway, or move in one from move in two, to separate the cost and the bids that way. You can do that as well. And so in here, I just did the Hydroseed. And I guess the important part to know is I built the formulas here, but you can build any formulas you want, very similar to Excel. So this is the Hydroseed, and this is not as fancy as it can be. I just took a couple minutes to build this thing. I think I did it in about 10 minutes actually. So I put in the acres. I think you go square feet. I don't care. System doesn't care. It's just a different formula. But I put in a 3.4 acres. It converted it to square feet just by taking the acres here and turn by 43,560. It gives me my square feet. Down here, I have the seed mix number 1, and it basically, this is a little bit more complicated formula, but it says the quantity here is, and I use percents instead of feet. I just said it was 70% of it was being seeded with 1, and 30% was being seeded with seed mix number 2, times the number of acres. Could have done it times the square feet. Doesn't make any difference. And then back here under my project values, I have seed mix 1 coverage, seed mix 2 coverage. And that's a variable. So on every job, if it's different, I still use the same formula, but I have the opportunity to override the coverage rate. Okay, and so I'm just going to use these variable names in my formula. And so if I come in here, it just says, hey, take 70% of the acreage and then times it by the coverage rate that I have in the back. Comes up with 6,000 pounds, and then in this one, 44.98. I think it was like with 1 pound, within 1 pound of you on that one, with the price for the seed, which calculates out the cost. It comes out with the extended quantity, comes out with the total cost for that. I put my 20% overhead on there. This is where I want the budget to go to erosion control, and this is a material item, okay? And then on this thing here, Conwed, it was basically the same thing. I took the acres times, just like your formula, times 1,500 divided by 50. I come up with 102 bags. I divide the 102 bags by 20. I come up with 5 loads, just like you did. And then I come up with the days, which it looks like you enter. And so we just entered that, and then the same thing with equipment. And then I think you'd be better off if you could convert it to do the labor in hours, because we have reports that will compare the budgeted hours for an item versus the actual hours for the thing. So not a big deal. I just converted it to hours rather than to days, but same thing. So basically, I come up with the same cost you did. I have my overhead. I can, down here in the very bottom right, I can see my profit margin for this item. If I had all of the items in here, so I'm just going to print. Whoops, didn't want to print it. Hang on a second. Let's look at here. If I had all the bid items here, I would see all the bid items, how much labor I had, what the cost was, and what my margin was on each item. Very similar to what you have. I just do it on a separate page so it doesn't get too busy. Back here's the details. I would have a page for each one of your bid items. Those would roll up to a proposal and what have you. So I come pretty close to what you're doing, except this is now in here. So the next time I do this job, it's literally I come in here, and if I put in 4.5 acres and hit calculate right here, it changes all of these numbers going through. It changed the number of bags. It changed all this, but all of this happened with just one mouse click. So all I did was that. I'm going to make this 5 acres. Doesn't make any difference. Next time I have a Hydroseed item, I'm going to come in here for 5. I'm going to go make sure that the coverage rate is what I think it should be, and maybe not worse, or maybe there's a loss on this job because it's sloped or something like that. Up to you. But like I said, the next time I do a job, I don't have to build a template. I just come in here, pull up the Hydroseed item, which has a number assigned to it. I put in my quantity, and I'm done. And so anyway, hopefully that helps give you an idea what the possibilities of the estimating are. I think it will work for you guys. The rest of the stuff is kind of cookie cutter. I mean, job cost reports, 100 of them to choose from. Certified payrolls we do. Bonding reports we do. All that's going to be coming out of the system, but I think we definitely can handle your estimating requirements based on what you sent me the other day. So take a look at it, share it with you guys on your team, and then, like I said, after the holidays, let's see if we can't get together and then dial in some of the other questions that you had. Thanks. Have a great holiday.